Good evening, my fellow Biafrans all over the world. Good evening, wherever you are. Good evening, other like-minded Nigerians all over the world. The time has come. Something has happened that should wake you up. Thank you for joining me. This is my live broadcast very early today. It is early because the time is just a few minutes past 6 where I am. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully, Michael Lee, I will have like 2 minutes to call names for recognizing your names. Those of you who are waiting and joining me, Ayakus Ikeoha, Michael Lee, thank you for joining me. Ofodile Dominic Ugu, thank you for joining me. Thank you, Chidi Chas, for joining me. Nelly Jude, thank you for joining me. My own Nelly Jude from the UK, thank you for joining me. Onyinye Uba, thank you for joining me. Kisili Olekana IBB, thank you for joining me. Chibeze Ojike, thank you for joining me. Thank you, Ella Nolim for joining me. Obichi Igwe, thank you for joining me. Starboy Faster, thank you for joining me. Ezibo Abuja, thank you for joining me from the United Arab Emirates. Thank you. Romeo Brooklyn Watcher, thank you for joining me. Watching from Italy. Thank you, Ifani Odinaka, for joining me this evening. Ben K, thank you. Watching from South Africa. Thank you for joining me. Kisele Tai King Solomon Obodo, thank you for joining me. Abai Raphael, thank you for joining me. Adam Wangu, thank you for joining me. Okay, Richard, thank you. Paul Christopher, Eze Onodugo, I see you. My own Eze Onodugo. Gabriel Duke, thank you for joining me. Chris Bakasi Abba, thank you for joining me. Thank you, my own Obiageli Uzoebo from Italy. Thank you for joining me. My sister Isi Kelf, thank you for joining me. Tony Bamen Ehimwen, thank you. Watching from Qatar. Thank you, Chima Mwogo. Watching from Malaysia. Thank you for joining me from Malaysia. Thank you, Emma Chukwemeka. You are watching from Indonesia. Thank you for joining me. Osborne, thank you for joining me. St. Bright, thank you for joining me. All of you from Indonesia. Patient Ihuako Udaya, thank you for joining me. From Lagos, Amechi Asalem, Daniel Young, Kenechi Idei, thank you for joining me. Yes, Biafra must come. Thank you for joining me. Eguato, thank you for joining me. Thomas Mba, thank you for joining me. Echefuna, thank you for joining me. Bon Black, Don Newton, Oku Osaibele Patient, thank you for joining me. Watching from Canada. Gabriel Duke, thank you for joining me. From Switzerland, thank you, my brother. To Anthony David, thank you. Watching from Italy. Kelvin Adike, Kelechi Isidore, thank you for joining me. Fado Ju Olayinka Frederick, thank you for joining me this evening. Johnson Eric, thank you for joining me. Fado Ju, invite your Duduwa brothers and sisters to come and listen to me. Invite your friends. Ogechuku Ugwozo, thank you for joining me. Nabuife Emeka, thank you for joining me this evening. Christopher Nwankwo, thank you for joining me from Tanzania. Lopeta Ifanyi, Lapota Ifanyi, thank you for joining me. Prince Onyeka Chukwu, thank you for joining me. Joseph Chukwuemeka Obidi, thank you for joining me. Ebube Osweze, thank you for joining me. Mwacherugo Prince, thank you for joining me. Watching from Italy. Monetisi Andy Emeka Esquire, thank you. My own brother Achino Gold, thank you for joining me. Watching from the US. Florence Chinwe, welcome to joining me. We are waiting very soon. We have 1,000 viewers and we start drinking always. Yes, I have to drink always because of my voice. Yes, so that the voice will be heard and loud without any problem. Florence Chinwe, thank you for joining me from Gabon. Eze Michael O. Joshua Uche Sunday, thank you for joining me. Christy Dike, thank you for joining me. Christine OG, thank you for joining me. Emeka Nite, Buntu Bra Mustafa, watching from Meduguri. Buntaba Mustafa, I believe you are an Hausa man. Hausa people are good until Fulani came to Nigeria to start dealing with Hausa people. Hausa people has been very wonderful people, very wonderful tribe. We know that you people, Hausa people, are very good. And this fight about liberation, we are calling you people to join and liberate Nigerians, other Nigerians, from these Marandus Fulanis who have conquered your land and are taking the lives of Hausa people like they want. Thank you, Bunubra Mustafa. Sonny Indibo, thank you for joining me. You are watching from Klagenfurt, probably in Germany. Thank you for joining me, DK Stanley. Obona Godson, thank you for joining me. Thank you, Chidebere Chikwe. Now we have over 1,000 viewers. Awureme Benedict, thank you for joining me. Bob Reason, Onwe, my own Bob Reason, thank you for joining me. Onyeka Okafor, thank you for joining me. Thank you. Now we have to start because we have over 1,000 viewers. The information I want to pass now, those of you who I didn't call your name, I'll remember you next time. Chimezie Jacob, Ikeme Funa, thank you. Nnabuife Emeka, thank you. Tony Adams, Emeka, thank you. Yes, Ndukan, thank you. Now we have to start. So, now, when this, my live broadcast today, we touch on these things that we have been shouting for the past 2 days. And in this live broadcast, I am going to address some of the accusation coming from our brother Tony Nnadi against the leaders of indigenous people of Biafra. I am also going to touch issue concerning the bombing of Lagos. We told you people that the bombing of Lagos is a deliberate attack on Igbos. It was a deliberate attack. It was a deliberate attack sponsored by the federal government of Nigeria and carried out by their foot soldiers, the terrorists. We will continue to maintain this claim and allegation because we have the facts. And when facts are coming, when this information are being reviewed, you will begin to understand why you are no longer safe in Nigeria. As a Nigerian, you will begin to understand why you are no longer safe as a Yoruba man in Yoruba land. You will begin to understand why you are no longer safe as a Biafra man in Biafra land. The bomb exploded. They bombarded Lagos, where Igbo businesses are, where Igbo properties, Biafra properties are, Biafra businesses are. They bombarded that area, and after bombarding the area, we came to tell Nigerians and the entire world that it was bomb attack, that it was terrorist attack, and this terrorist attack was sponsored by the federal government of Nigeria. Everybody, international community are aware that the government of Nigeria today is the biggest sponsor of ethnic cleansing, is the biggest sponsor of terrorist attack against Christians in Nigeria, against indigenous people in Nigeria, against their own citizens. To confirm that what we are saying is not just about talking, I want to show you the breaking news. This is the breaking news today. Are you looking at the screen? Abulado residents to lose property as federal government plan takeover of explosion site. This is what we are talking about. When we come to tell you that it is time you wake up, you are not a Nigerian, you are not welcome in Nigeria. Fulani are following the tactics of Usman Danfodio in a modern way. This is the modernized tactics and systematic conquering of territory by Usman Danfodio. What Usman Danfodio did during his time, that is what this government and their Fulani soldiers are doing. What you are looking at now is today's news, 18th of March 2020. The bomb exploded and they bombarded this area with 3 heavy explosive bombs. And from my own estimation of what kind of bomb this could be, it can be up to 1,000 kilograms of heavy explosive, or even more than 1,000 kilograms of heavy explosive in 3 different places in the same area. That is the kind of bomb that could cause this kind of havoc. Now, after they bombarded, immediately the bomb went off. Some people came to tell you that it was a pipeline. But we already know from the wrecks of the place, how the place was damaged and grounded to zero. We already know it is not a pipeline explosion. And after that, it was confirmed by both security agents, who are not carcass, of course, of the plan to bombard this place. Now, after the federal government sponsored the terrorists and their foot soldiers to go and bombard this Igbo-dominated area in Lagos, they have come today to claim that the federal government is taking over the place, just like we waited for. We waited for them to come to do this, to say this, because that is why they bombarded the place. So now, most of you who are building in the north, most of you who have businesses in the north, and before I continue this, every Biafran person watching me today and commenting on this live video must not insult any person bearing Yoruba name on my page. I am appealing to you, starting from today, do not insult and call names to any Yoruba person on my page. I am appealing to you. I don't want to see anybody abusing and calling Yoruba person a name, especially if you are a Biafran. I am appealing to you, please respect my page. If you can't respect me, respect my page. I am appealing to you, every Biafran on my page, stop abusing and name calling Yoruba people on my page. Any Yoruba person that comes here to comment on my page and to reason with us, please, even if the person is commenting something that you don't like, just overlook the comment and go to the next comment that you like. From today, I do not want anybody to abuse any person bearing Yoruba name on my page, so that to avoid being blocked. Thank you. Now I continue. Now, when you are looking at this, David Omi, thank you for joining me. When you are looking at this, you will see that this is a planned terrorist attack on Biafrans, on Biafran businesses, on people of Biafra, on Biafra community in Lagos. And the idea of this, the reason for this, is to continue to execute the plan from the tape I played yesterday. You remember I played the tape yesterday during my live broadcast about the leaked tape, audio tape between Shettima and Adekunle, a former Yoruba governor who is now a senator. That tape, what that person said on that tape is what is still going on. And every time we talk about the killing of Igbos in other parts of Nigeria, we will always make references to that tape because that is one of the evidences we have. Now, you see, I will read this to you for you to know where your problem is coming from, because when you don't know where your problem is coming from, you can never have a solution. Now, because we, Biafran agitators, we know exactly where our problems are coming from, and that is why we have come out to know that the only solution to end this problem is by exiting Nigeria. Now, listen and listen as I read this. Abulado residents to lose property as federal government plan takeover of explosion site. The guidance. Monarch Landlord Association claims explosion caused by bomb blast. There may be more trouble for the distressed residents of Soba, Abulado, Lagos State, as the federal government has initiated plan to take over the area affected by Sunday explosion. This disclosure was made by the acting managing director, chief executive officer of Federal Housing Authority, Umar Salisi Buntu, who visited the site of the explosion yesterday. Are you hearing that? This man visited the site of this explosion this yesterday, and today he visited the site on the 17th of March 2020, and today 18th of March 2020, instead of how to compensate Nigerians, how to compensate those who have lost their loved ones, how to compensate people of Nigeria who lose their property because of insecurity and incompetence of the government, if they claim that they were not the sponsor of the bombing. This man comes today to say the federal government is taking over the place. Like I said yesterday, when you die in Nigeria, you die for nothing. When your property is destroyed in Nigeria, you will never have insurance. That is nothing for you. Now, after the bombardment of your properties, which is sponsored by the federal government, they are now coming to grab your land. The land that you paid millions of naira, paying all kinds of levies to the state government. And today, not only that they bombed it, they are now taking your landed property from you. Let me continue reading. According to Ubuntu, the federal government has acquired a large expanse of land from Ojo Barak Trade Fair, including the Soba axis, sometimes around 1970. Do you now see where your problem is coming from, that your government is the one killing you? This is it. Are you seeing that? The government claimed they have acquired this land in 1970, and they have been planning how to bombard you. They have planning how to bomb you. This bombing of your businesses and your properties is coming, and more of it will be coming. And then after the bombardment of your properties, the next thing is that they will come to tell you that they have acquired this landed property in 1960. Have you seen it? This is what Shettima was talking about in the audio tape I played yesterday. They are taking over Lagos. They are taking over Yoruba land. And this is a Fulani man who is the the chief executive officer of the housing authority in Abuja. He is now telling you that they have acquired this land in 1970. And of course, they cannot also begin to tell those people, those Nigerians and Biafrans in that area, owning that property and doing business there, to vacate. So the system and the tactics they have adopted was to begin to bomb and kill Nigerians. And after bombing you, they will now give you ultimatum or to leave and never come back to that place. You see why we are calling them terrorist government? What is holding the Nigeria government to call every person who owns property in this place and tell them, it is time you go. We will compensate you from your property, but sorry, this land belonged to us. We acquired it in 1970, and now we need our land back. Instead of sending terrorists to go and kill Nigerians, and then after killing them and bombarding their properties and their houses, you are now going to take over the place. Isn't that wickedness in the highest order? That is wickedness in the highest order. Let me continue reading. Let me continue reading. Why I'm explaining and talking like this is so that you will understand what is befalling you. So that when we are, after watching all these, our videos and numerous analysis, you will understand that your life is not secured as a Nigerian under this Fulani government that has come to Fulanize Nigeria through hostility and terrorism. The FEMA boss who commiserated with affected person, however, noted that many of the buildings in the area had encroached into government-acquired land, making them illegal occupants. Are you people seeing that? This is barely 2 days after the explosion, killing almost 1,000 persons lost their life in that place. And this is what the people who you claim shouting one Nigeria, building your house in Nigeria, this is what they are coming, how they are coming. This is the condolence message to those of you that have survived, those of you that escaped. This is their condolence message to you, that you no longer have right to that place. So they bombed your building and grabbed your land. He went further to say, Amuwa Odofi residents are claiming ownership while the government has acquired this land for a long time. The land spread. The land spread to Ojo cantonment up to trade fair, but over time, the family owners was still selling to unsuspecting member of the public. Are you people seeing that? So, this government, to show you how wicked they are, they did not even wait for 1 week to pass. At least, they did not wait for 7 days. They have come to tell you the reason behind the bombing of the place, why they sent their Boko Haram foot soldiers to go and bomb the place, is because they want to take it back. According to them, they have acquired it in 1970. Again, the government is coming back to take charge. This is it. The government is coming back to take charge. A task force has been constituted by the federal or by the government, and Lagos state government is going to help the federal government to sanitize this place after proper investigation have been done and decision taken. This is your one Nigeria. This is your one Nigeria. And those of you who are still having faith in one Nigeria, don't think that these people are the only victim. Your own is coming. Where you are today, if you are not in Biafra land as a Biafran, now they have remembered Lagos. Like I said, in my yesterday live broadcast, I gave you analysis of how they want to take over Lagos. I gave you analysis that they have instituted Emirates in Lagos, even though the Emirates come to deny it. I told you that the Oba of Lagos don't actually know what is going on. I told you that Yoruba people don't know what is going on, and it is time I remember Lagos. And it is time I begin to shout like I shouted to Yoruba people before the setting up of Amotekon. Today, I have come to tell you and remember Lagos. And in a couple of days, I will be talking about Lagos. The security threats, the danger that is befalling Lagos State, which is the heartbeat of Yoruba land. And I will not stop until Yoruba people wake up to see the danger that is awaiting them in Lagos State as Lagos is being taken over by Fulanis. And like I said, in a modernized way, this is not Usman Danfodio era. They are using civilization to take over your land in Lagos. And it is happening. The Lagos State governor don't know what he is doing with the man in Aso Rock. He thinks he is dealing with a human being. This Lagos State governor should know that he is dining with the devil, and the people he banned and evacuated from Lagos, the Okada riders who are mainly majority Fulanis. Do you think that they came to Lagos to just do Okada riding? No. They came to Lagos with their Okada and machines because that is their foot soldier. And today you have evacuated them. You banned the Okada riders, and they are coming to respond to you in a very strong way. This is a very strong message they are sending to you. Those people, those Okada you see, that is what they use, the terrorists are using in Northeast. And they have come to Lagos to study the land and wait for order to be given to them. And today you have banned them and evacuated them from Lagos, and they are responding in a very, very hard way to you, the governor of Lagos State. So if you know the reason why you instituted Amotekon and stand by it, it is time you stop going to Abuja. Going to Abuja is like you are trading the life of your people with the Fulanis. There is no point going to Abuja. It is time you focus in Lagos and protect Lagos. Why I'm shouting like this is because a lot of Biafrans are in Lagos, and we cannot do this alone without Yorubas, and Yorubas cannot do this alone without Biafrans. So it is time the spirit, like you know, we are changing the narrative of yesterday. All this brainwash, they have brainwashed Biafrans and Yorubas against each other. They incite you against each other. It is time we change that narrative, and we are changing it. Most of the landowner here did not buy from FHA, from the Federal Housing Authority. And if they did, let them bring the title they have. They don't have any title with us. We are not aware all along why we have been coming here. Are you people following? All along, this man wrote all along while we have been coming here, the place kept expanding and the family kept selling to unsuspected members of the public, and they don't have anything to show for it. Do you see why they bombed the place? Have you people seen it? They have been coming to this place to see and supervise how the people of Nigerians are living and expanding this place. And Fulani don't like it. This is an indictment to the federal government. The federal government of terrorists have indicted themselves with this statement. Are you people hear that? He said, all along, while we have been coming here, federal government has been coming there. The place kept expanding and the family kept selling to unsuspecting members of the public. And they don't have anything to show for it. So for this reason, they have to level the whole place to the ground. They have to kill thousands of Nigeria for them to get the place back from Biafrans, from Yorubas, from Southerners, or from Southern Nigeria. And that is what is happening. When we are shouting for Biafra freedom, you think we are just making noise. Reacting to the claim of the FH boss, the Baale of Soba, Chief Rahim Agbebaji, maintain the affected portion of Soba is a family property and not government owned. You see how the Yorubas, it has affected the Yorubas. The Baale, which is the chief in that place, is a Yoruba man. He is not a Biafran. He is not an Igbo man. And the federal government is controlled by Fulanis, unanimously made a decision in secret. Who know where they made a decision and come to that kind of conclusion that the property was acquired in 1970. And the Yoruba Baale is now telling them that their claims are false. So it is not only the Igbos that this is affecting. And you can now see why there must be unification of action, unity between the Yorubas. In fact, all the southern part of Nigeria must come together to be able to defeat these people that have come to kill you and grab your properties and land through their government policies, through their evil policies. The Baale, who spoke through the family secretary, Alhaji Umaru, said, Soba is not an illegal community. This is Yoruba people. We were formerly in trade fair complex. But when the federal government came with trade fair complex, they shifted us here, which was part of our farmland we inherited from our forefathers. Are you people seeing that? This is Yoruba person writing, not Igbo person. These are Yoruba landowners. Fulanis coming from the north to tell you the history of who owns your land in Yoruba land in Lagos. Who is dominating you? Is it still the Igbos? Is it the Igbos that are making this decision, telling you that this land does not belong to you? Who is dominating you now in Lagos, in Yoruba land? This is not just domination. This is grabbing your land and Fulanization of Yoruba land. And like I told you earlier, pay attention to the video I made yesterday. That telephone conversation that leaked many years ago. Pay attention. That is what is going on now in Lagos. And when they say they are going to institute some kind of land policy, that Buhari has given Lagos State a special status to start doing their land however they want. And he was telling that man, Adekunle, the story of how the Yorubas are going to change Lagos, and it happens that Adekunle don't have any knowledge about what that man was talking about as a Fulani man. The government compensated us having to destroy our farmland at Soba to build houses. After moving us here, the truth remains that Soba town has been in existence for over 300 years. And we have it in the government archives. We own even down to barracks and Volks. We have common boundary with Amuwo Odofin. Are you people hearing that? Changing the history of Yoruba land. The Fulanis who don't know anything about governance, and of course they know very much about history because that is the only thing they know, how to conquer your land and grab your land through hostility, through terrorism, or the government mercenaries. Government mercenaries. Now, in this attack, let me tell Nigerians and Biafras, in this attack, there are different actors. You have the state actors, you have the non-state actors in this attack in Lagos, in the western part of Nigeria. The non-state actors are the terrorists that they have used to bombard that whole area. The state actors that they are using now is this man you see, the Federal Housing Authority. That is the state actors. And more state actors that are going to use will be the military and other security agencies to safeguard the place in case any stubborn one comes there to start raising up building again. They will use that state actors, the security agencies, against you. And they will enforce, they will bring force and with weapons to compel you not to even near that place. So now, and what they are going to do in that place now is something that none of you know. But it is part of weakening Yoruba people. It is part of weakening you, the Yorubas. It is part of weakening the Southerners. It is part of weakening Biafrans who have lost billions of worth of properties in that place, who have lost lives, futures, and leader of tomorrow. Their lives were lost in that place. Those who were in boarding school, the leaders of tomorrow. And when we are shouting Biafra, Biafra, you people will say, one Nigeria. You see one Nigeria? This kind of strategy that they have applied here now. Why I'm making this is that so that you will understand where your problem is coming from. You will understand. Because a lot of you don't understand what is going on in Nigeria. A lot of you don't understand what is going on in Nigeria. It has become our responsibility to always delve into this kind of issues and elaborate it and make it as plain as possible. With this kind of analysis, and you can see the word written by yourself. And then you can begin to reason along the line what we are talking about. Now, some of you who are shouting, one Nigeria, why are we in abroad? Come to Nigeria and do this. I have to stop this here. I have to address the issue of Tony Nadi, the Niger Lower Congress. I want every follower of Niger Lower Congress to listen to me. If you have a friend, if you have colleagues who are following Niger Lower Congress, NLC, Tony Nadi, I want you people here to reason what I'm about to tell you now. You see, when we talk about Biafra, a lot of people don't accept the name Biafra. A lot of people don't accept the name Biafra. But they accept the fact that Nigeria is not working again. They accept the fact that as Nigeria is not working, there is need to disintegrate Nigeria. And the problem that, or I wouldn't call it a problem, but some issues that the agitators are having is how to disintegrate Nigeria. Everybody have agreed that Nigeria is not working. Everybody have agreed that Nigeria needs to be disintegrated. And some people are saying they need to be restructured. And the restructuring aspect of it is something that we, the Biafra agitators, are not buying anymore. So, let me brief you people a little bit about the issues that Tony Nnadi of Lower Niger Congress has been sharing to his group of people and friends. You see, like I said, any genuine agitator of Biafra, you don't need to start castigating other people. I want to present to you people today the what Tony Nnadi wrote. What Tony Nnadi wrote. And it is very, very important that people know these issues as they come. Because now, like I said before, I have communicated with Tony, and sometimes it is good. Of course, it is not everything I'm going to say in public, but sometimes it is good to clarify a lot of issues, because if you don't clarify a lot of issues, you know, you will mislead at least some part of the public. So because of the sensitivity of some information concerning the agitation for Biafra, because of the sensitivity of some information, I have come to present to you what Tony Nnadi has been sharing to people, and I'm making this video as a way also to communicate with him, and because I told him that yes, the only problem that Tony Nnadi, Loretta also, thank you for joining me from the UK. Tony Nnadi, a very brilliant man. I respect him, and he doesn't even know that. He's a brother, a very brilliant man. And the problem the NLC, Niger Lower Congress, have with Biafrans agitators or with other Biafra agitators is that they don't want the name Biafra. Let it be clear to the entire Southerners, to the Middle Belt, to every Biafran, that Tony Nnadi of the NLC or the Niger Lower Niger Congress, the LSC, don't have any problem with any agitating group. The only problem the Niger Lower Congress have with Biafrans is the name Biafra. They don't want the name Biafra. Now, will you, if you, I am making this public so that people will understand. When you say people, we are not in, we are not in unity, we are not in unity. Everybody, we are in unity. What we call the unity of purpose. We are in unity. When you are in unity, you are in unity because you accepted that Nigeria is not working. That means you are now in unity. Now, how do you disintegrate Nigeria? We may have different divergent views of how Nigeria will be disintegrated. And that is why every different ideas, every different head and brains are needed, including that of the Niger Lower Congress. But when you begin to go behind people and castigate and call other agitating group fraudulent, fraudsters, scammers. It means your agitation for Biafra is merely political. It is merely political. Because if you are serious about disintegration of Nigeria and you see a fraudster who is doing something very significant to make sure that Nigeria is broken into pieces, because that is your agenda, you wouldn't look into his fraud. You would rather adopt that pattern or that part of that fraudster that could help you to disintegrate Nigeria. After you must have disintegrated Nigeria, you will now come back to begin to visit the fraudulent part of that person. That is how we doing things. You don't come and begin to castigate and calling Nnamdi Kanu and Uche Mefo and IPOB that they are scammers and all that. I am going to present this to Nigerians and the world and everybody watching me to see the language that has been used to describe Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB. And I am begging and appealing to Tony Nnadi, after this video, please, I am not saying that I know more than you, but what I'm saying is after this video, please search your conscience and have a rethink about how you castigate other Biafra agitators. Focus on those areas that you are strong in. Focus on this area that NLC is very strong in, which is which of course this like having a synergy and brainstorming and all that, which you people are very good and nobody can doubt that. And we will need it. We will need whatever you have done to add to whatever other agitators have done to break up Nigeria. Now, I want people to listen to this. I'm not going to read all of them, but I am going to read the one I have highlighted. Now, this is Tony Nnadi's, is it a letter or a rejoinder to somebody who actually wrote, he said that the person said something and he's now writing a rejoinder. Please do not abuse Tony Nnadi on my page. I am appealing to you. This, what I'm saying, what I'm doing now is not to castigate Tony Nnadi. Please don't call him names on my page. I am appealing to you all. Just if you want to say he's a bad person, say it, but please do not call him names. Don't abuse him. Don't abuse him. We are not looking we are not looking for fight or quarrel with anyone. We are only making things public so that a lot of people will reason and see why there is need to support all the Biafra agitators and not like castigating them and trying to poison the mind of people. Please don't abuse Tony Nnadi. I will go through this post. If you abuse Tony Nnadi, I will not be happy with you. So now listen. The Biafra Restoration Multitude and the NLC Liberation Project. Note of clarification. Tony Nnadi, March 15, 2020. I am not going to read, like I said, the whole of the letter and all that, but let me read here because I did not highlight this place. I did not highlight it, but let me read here. In response to passionate plea by an hip-hop sympathizer in one of the NLC platform in the US for unification of effort by all groups pursuing the liberation of Eastern Nigeria from the bondage of Nigeria, Tony Nnadi of the NLC responds as follows. Now, I am not going to go into the details like I said, but I want to point out something here. Now, Tony Nnadi wrote, subsequent, incurable and most negative actions of the hip-hop leadership up to the present time in March 2020 not only reinforced the rogue global Biafra franchise categorization, but our collaborator in depth Washington and at the UN in New York, who had independently found out the scam the franchise perpetrators are. Actually, watch out for any NLC involvement with the scam, and I can assure you or assure us that there is no intention to get muddled up or entangled with those bogus character and code calculating criminals. Tony Nnadi, as educated as you are, do you think it is wise for somebody who is well learned and who is well educated and who has a lot of knowledge, who has served Nigeria, including in oil industry and all that? Do you think the language you use here is really a good language to describe the IPOB leadership as criminals? Tony Nnadi, why I'm doing this is that it is a way and path to peace. You see? And again, you continued. They only got worse post-September 2017 and became more determined to do their evil, not minding the innocent blood being wasted, and most unnecessarily, too, in the homeland by their choosing method, as well as the grave danger their greeds pose to the success of the liberation project. Now, Mr. Tony Nnadi, when you look at this, you said innocent blood being wasted. And according to you, it is because of the activities of IPOB. Tony Nnadi, activities of the IPOB is to save the lives and properties of Biafrans. Biafrans are the business of IPOB. When people were murdered in Ebonyi State of Nigeria, it was only IPOB that was trading the war of words between Nigerian police. We did not see any other Biafra agitating group writing anything about the killing in Ebonyi State on national newspaper. But IPOB did. IPOB has actually come to take the responsibility of Biafrans' lives and property. And that is why whenever anything happens, IPOB has been in front of condemning any attack against Biafran and all that. And none of other agitating group has done that. And we have not seen that. But of course, that does not mean that the other agitating group, like the Niger Lower Congress, are not doing good things in the struggle for disintegration and liberation of Nigeria. Now, let me continue. So, again, you said these are some people who had wholeheartedly embraced the NLC. Of course, you were describing the people, other self-determination group who have come to identify with the Niger Lower Congress and all that. And then you said these are people, they don't want to have anything to do with the IPOB, and that IPOB, they have threatened IPOB with mayhem and all that. And you said that these are the same people who had wholeheartedly embraced the NLC paradigm for the liberation of the greater eastern Nigeria. You see, what I want people to see here is that this is the place where you have problem with every other Biafra agitating group. This place now is your problem, Mr. Tony Nnadi. This place marked with red is your problem, Mr. Tony Nnadi. You do not want anybody to mention Biafra. Rather, you want liberation of the greater eastern Nigeria, lower Niger, from the caliphate bondage. And if the only problem you have with Biafra agitators, not just about the IPOB, is that they are using Biafra, and nobody, according to you, is buying the idea of Biafra. Now, let me read further. This is not even the main point I want to bring. This is not the reason why I'm coming to make some analysis of this Tony Nnadi's letter. Now, incidentally, many of our people, especially the US diaspora, are under the erroneous impression that without the multitude of Igbo hip-hop minders, members, supporters, and sympathizers hoodwinked by the Biafra now opium, the liberation project may not succeed. You see, Tony Nnadi, if you are fighting for liberation of whatever name you call it, whether it is disintegration of Nigeria, whether it is Biafra restoration, whether it is Lower Niger Congress, or whatever you call it, you do not need to go as far as tagging the people that you want to share the same country with this kind of derogatory languages. Now, you went further to say, the happy reality is that Greater Eastern Nigeria Liberation Project, as encapsulated by the NLC, MNN, template and strategy designs, which is well on course to take down the caliphate monster masquerading as unitary Nigeria currently holding us and others down in bondage, does not require that so-called multitude to succeed and to deliver independence, self-determination to our people and other bloc entrapped in the toxic, failed Lugadian experiment of 1914. That goes by the codename Nigeria. Now, why I highlighted this is that you have continued to make a mockery of this thing you called multitude. According to you, we do not need multitude. You do not need multitude to succeed. That is not right. We need multitude to succeed. Including the NLC need multitude to succeed. If you do not have the multitude and tomorrow there is a call for referendum, how will you now win the referendum voting? You need multitude. If it comes to the point that Nigeria don't want you to go and it is time to go by hostility, how do you now survive without multitude? So Tony Nnadi, we need multitude in this struggle. That is why we are shouting, and that is why you have gone to solicit for support from other agitating groups. We need the multitude. The Niger Lower Congress alone cannot get Biafra. You cannot get independence. You cannot also disintegrate Nigeria. We need multitude. Now, let me continue. This is the point why I have come to make this video today. This one that is coming now, my next. Tony Nnadi highlighted what they have done in the struggle for Biafra. Williams Aja, thank you for joining me. Tony Nnadi highlighted what they have done for struggle for Biafra. And here is where I have a very serious issue with the Niger. Of course, not issue, but some kind of maybe disagreement or something with the Niger Lower Congress. And of course, at the end of the day, we are all one. Niger Lower Congress said, it was not that multitude that went quietly to persuade the other nationalities of the lower Niger to join forces with the Igbo to liberate the peoples of the lower Niger territory, aggregating the 1967 Biafra and 1967 Midwest, Greater Biafra if you wish. It was the NLC that did. This is from Tony Nnadi. So, Mr. Tony Nnadi, if NLC have done this, good job. If it was you, if it was NLC that have done this, a very good job. But that does not give you the right to call other agitators, criminals, and fraudsters. And I will be expecting you, with all due respect, to retract that fraudster, criminals, and scammers you call them. I am coming again. Watch. Now, Tony Nnadi continued. It was not that multitude that went round to persuade our Yoruba and Middle Belt brethren who are now equally being killed by the rampaging and murderous Fulanese invaders to band together as alliance of the South and Middle Belt to isolate, defeat and host the Caliphate Sharia monsters masquerading as Nigeria in their homeland. It was the NLC led MNN alliance that did. Tony Nnadi, one thing you should know is this. You said NLC did this. Oh, if that is what NLC, Niger Lower Congress have done, that is thumb up for you. But that is not the reason to tag any other agitator, a criminal, or a scammer. If the person has not directly scammed you, and that you send a document to somebody and this person take a document and the person claim the owner of the document, there are different kind of, so you cannot, that does not make the person scammer. Some documents are publicly available. Now, you continue to use the word multitude. You do not need the multitude. You need the multitude. In fact, if what you wrote here is what the NLC have achieved, it was also as a result of the multitude that we are shouting that they are now tired of Nigeria. That was the reason that Middle Belt region listening to you. In the first place, that was the reason Yoruba people listening to you. In the first place, if there were no multitude coming to shout that we are dying in Nigeria, we don't want to be Nigeria again, we want Biafra. You think when you go and they see that the multitude were actually huge, very huge multitude. If there were no multitude, do you think you can have the impetus to go and start quietly telling somebody in the Middle Belt that, Nigeria is not working. We need to come to alliance so that we can disintegrate Nigeria. You think anybody will listen to you? Nobody will listen to you. Do you think if there were no multitude and people have seen that in Biafra land, all Biafrans are out to exit from Nigeria, when you go to Yoruba land, Yoruba people will listen to you? They will not listen to you. They listen to you because IPOB, because other agitating group have mobilized multitude that according to you are useless in this struggle. So when the multitude start making noise, like Simon Ekpa is one of the multitude today. And believe me, we are close to the powers. That is the reason why somebody in Yoruba land can listen to you, because they see there are multitude who want to leave Nigeria. You see that IPOB have contributed. So even if, I am not here to debate whether you actually achieved what you listed here or not. But let me even assume that yes, you achieved it. But I'm now telling you the part that IPOB and other agitating group has contributed to making you successful in this your attempt. It is because of the multitude. Because people you went to meet see that, yes, the multitude of millions of Nigerians want exit. And they can listen to you. If there were nobody protesting or shouting, I want to go Nigeria, nobody will listen to that. This is just a very simple logic. Nobody will listen to you. So IPOB have contributed to this, your success. You see now why we need each other. Do you see that? We have the IPOB and other agitators have the multitude. You have diplomacy. Let us even say that. So that is why in every office you have division of labor. And everybody will be doing different things. Some people will be going to post office. Some people will be doing copying. Some people will be doing writing emails. Some people will be answering telephone calls. And at the end of the day, they are running one company. Now, let me continue. Tony Nadi, you continued that number 3 is here. It was not, you said, it was not that multitude that identified and devised a strategy for taking down the rogue 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as the key instrument by which we and the rest of Nigeria are enslaved by the Fulani-led caliphate. It was the NLC and the MMN alliance partners. Fine. But as I'm talking to you today, Nigeria Constitution, 1999 Constitution as amended, is still there. It has not been destroyed by you. And Nigeria Constitution will not be destroyed until Nigeria is disintegrated. So, this also should not be the reason to call Nnamdi Kanu or IPOB leadership scammers and criminals and fraudsters. That shouldn't be the reason. Because I believe you are very educated and you are supposed to be a leader in your own way. And name calling of other agitators should not be something that should be coming from somebody like you. Now, let me continue. We come here again. Number 6. Of course, you can see I jumped all. I don't want to go to other things. Number 6, you said, it is not that multitude that is currently relying the whole of, or rallying the whole of Southern and Middle Belt, Nigeria, toward the impending constitutional force, majorly primed to trigger a chain of events that will terminate the life of the toxic 1999 Constitution and precipitate UN Security Council mandated self-determination referendum in the alliance territory. Now, I made this alliance, I marked this red, alliance territory, because this is your only concern why you are going after IPOB and other agitating group, instead of focusing on how to actualize these things that needed multitude of people to sing and chant in the street of Nigeria. This also, if you have achieved this, I give you a thumb up. But that is not a reason to tag other agitators criminals. Now, let me continue. Now, let it be made clear that when referendum threshold is reached in NLC roadmap template, great multitude of the peoples of the lower Niger in the homeland, numbering over 70 million, will not require the irritating, distracting, and meddlesome middlemanship of the phantom multitude, now being bandied about to be persuaded to vote an overwhelming yes for freedom. Tony Nadi, you see, at the end of the day, you come to say the multitude that you see in the streets of Biafra land when Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB ordered stay at home, when Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB ordered people to come out to the street to protest, you are saying you do not need that multitude. And that is very wrong, because that is the multitude you need to vote for referendum if that kind of time comes. You see? Now, do you know that in Igbo-speaking part of Biafra, and even in the other Ijo and the Ibibio brothers, the stronghold of IPOB is not only in the Igbo-speaking part of Biafra. And IPOB is only one platform for agitating for Biafra freedom. And you people are another platform. So, does this give you the moral right to call other agitators criminals? I want you to search your conscience after this video. Let me continue. Now, you concluded by this. Similarly, I can also confirm to us that contrary to numerous photoshopped claims, as at March 2020, there is no single diplomat in any decision-making position at the UN involved in any discussion with the Biafra restoration element. Again, you concluded by this. The proof of these specific factual assertions made here will be provided privately upon request, just to minimize what might seem to distance spectators like Igbo dancing naked in the marketplace. Otherwise, those evidences can be put out there to the wider public in full. I decided to make it public for a reason. For those who have read and didn't understand you. For those who have read and just believed by the lies and the name calling and the degrading names you have called the IPOB leadership. That is why I'm making it public. And I am coming now to address these points you have raised here. But there is something very, very important. There is something very, 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 very important I want people to see from the beginning. Very, very important. Very, 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 very important. Now, I want people to read this. Because this is for record purposes, and remember, this is no way to belittle anybody. I am not doing this to belittle you, Tony Nadi. You are my man, as you know. Let it be made clear that it took 4 straight years continuous engagement from 2013 to 2017, even amid Syria's deliberate falsehood, propaganda, and dangerous treachery by the proprietors of the Biafra Restoration enterprise, for the NLC to reach the definitive conclusion that Nnamdi Kanu here and his man, Friday Uche Mefo, are clear-minded frauds, committed only to the goals of their nefarious enterprise, for which the NLC had to publicly categorize them as proprietors, the rogue global Biafra franchise in September 2017. After retreat in Washington, D.C., where the NLC received into its food the leadership of the other Biafra agitation group that had embraced the NLC template, including MASOB, whose members constitute the bulk of the Biafra Restoration foot soldiers, multitude we saw on the streets of eastern Nigeria between 2015 and 2017. Now, you see, do you think that reading this, Tony Nnadi, what you have done is very smart? No, it is not very smart. And of course, I remember you telling about something. Of course, I cannot tell, what we discussed and all that when I spoke with you. But this is definitely not right. And I want you, a learned and learned man like you are, to retract this, your rejoinder of 15th of March 2020. If and only if you are actually agitating for Nigeria breakup. Because what we are doing now and what the Niger Lower Congress is doing is that they are looking for Nigeria breakup and they are tired of Nigeria. And of course, you people do not buy the idea of Biafra. But I want to clarify this issue of Biafra as a name to those who may have bought the idea of NLC about Biafra. First of all, today, Biafra has become a household name in international community. Biafra was the name used. Biafra was the country that went to war or that Nigeria fought war against. In Biafra, millions of Biafrans and millions of Biafran children, women, men were killed. In Biafra, millions of children were starved to death. In Biafra, a lot of genocide has happened. In Biafra, the blood of Biafrans are crying every day. That name cannot just be wiped away. Tell those who don't like Biafra name, let us get Biafra independent and referendum first before we can now begin to talk whether we can now adopt a different name. If the majority of Biafrans want a different name because of the experience of the war, it will be understandable. We will put it into voting. If majority of Biafrans want to remain and maintain the Biafra name because of the significance of that name globally, it is something that will be done by democratic process. Democratic process. And Biafra today, if everybody now, Mr. Tony Nnadi, if everybody now all of a sudden turn their back that, oh, it is not Biafra again, we have to adopt a different name. Lower Niger Congress. Lower Niger. That is, I don't know whether whether it is government-sponsored project, because this doesn't sound very well. It means that the international community and every reasonable person will see that this part of Nigeria, this eastern part of Nigeria, are not serious to break out of Nigeria. They don't know what they want. That would be a very grave mistake. And that is why a lot of people will not buy the idea of having break Nigeria with a different name. Of course, if you want to have your own country, you know, if Nigeria is break into pieces now and there is a country called Lower Niger, then nobody's against that. I will not be against that. I don't think any Biafran will be against that. But for the fact that we are South and Southeast is together. And from the 1954, how the region were, it is Biafra. So when we get the Biafra, we can now come to a round table. It is time to debate which name we are going to use, which the majority of people will vote, whether to use the name and not to use the name. And before this voting, of course, awareness orientation will take place in all parts of Biafra land to tell them, you know, why we want to change the name or why we want to continue using Biafra as a name. But for now, if you are telling everybody and trying to convince people to adopt NLC platform or template of not calling Biafra or of not wanting Biafra, then of course it doesn't work like that. And people will not take the Igbos, the Ibibios, the Ijos, every ethnic group that make up Biafra, they will never take you serious again. And it means it is a dead project. So the best thing and the best option now is to use Biafra to disintegrate Nigeria. Let us disintegrate Nigeria first, because at least you agree that Nigeria is not working and there is need to disintegrate Nigeria. Now, I'm sorry, my time is going, but another thing I want to comment on this is this. You see, anybody that is living in Nigeria today and you are agitating for Nigeria disintegration and you are living in peace, then you have not broken the foundation of Nigeria. You see what is different with the IPOB and their group and the IPOB group? The IPOB, what is different with the IPOB is that IPOB has broken the foundation of Nigeria. And that is why no big leader of IPOB is residing in Nigeria. You see that? Anybody that is in Nigeria today shouting Nigeria disintegration and you are not being arrested and even tried to drug or kill by the Fulanis, then you have not done anything that touched their scrotum. So NLC should know that what they have done now, if actually they have done it, we need to harness from that project they have done. It is the project of all Biafrans. It is not just the project of your group. What you are doing, you are not doing it for yourself. You are doing it for your children. You are doing it for your community. You are doing it for your state. You are doing it for your region. You are doing it for the country that is to come. So it is not a personal project. But if it is a personal project, then you can make it clear, we will understand. But if it is not a personal project, if it is a public project, you have to bring it for public consumption. And that public consumption means signage with every agitating group, no matter the differences. No matter the differences. Whether the person punch you in your one eye, you close the eye and open the other and continue. That is the way to see who is determined. Determination. Don't look side, go straight and stay focused. So Tony Nadi, we want to see the NLC in collaboration with genuine Biafra agitators and bring what you have on the table and not name calling and criminal this, criminal that, and fraud this, fraud that. I believe that Nnamdi Kanu have not scammed your money. I believe that Uche Mefo have not scammed your money. I believe that IPOB have not scammed your money. Every organization is run by money. You don't run an organization by your teeth. And one thing I must tell you people is that Nigeria is answerable to some powers today. Nigeria is answerable to some powers. And we happens to be closer to the powers that Nigerians are answerable to. That is one thing I want to make everybody know. Nigeria today, the government of Nigeria is answerable to some powers. And we are very close to those powers that Nigeria government is answerable to. And if the Biafra did not come from Nigeria, we will bring it from abroad. That is one thing. So it is time you bring what you have done. You know, if it is not yet time, continue doing your job, the NLC. If it is not time yet, I must up, continue doing whatever you are doing. Everybody is doing something very meaningful. But don't call your fellow brother a criminal when there is nothing to show that the person have actually scammed you. And organization anywhere in the world is run by money. You don't run organization by just shouting and just talking. And if you don't have money, there is nothing that will happen. So everybody that is participating, either supporting IPOB today financially or anything, it is not a scam. Please, you people should stop. Focus on the agitation for restoration of whatever country you want to restore. It is like, I'm not saying you should adapt Biafra, but the point is that if you are from the East, automatically it is something that everybody has to vote, whether to use Biafra or not. So put the name aside. Let us focus on our problem, which is getting freedom from Fulanis. And after the freedom after you got the freedom, you will now begin to talk about that you people don't like this name, Biafra. And then we can put it to table to vote. It can even be that maybe a lot of people will not like the name. So we'll put it into voting, and after voting, that's the end. So Tony Nnadi, I respect you, and this I'm telling you, oh, I am begging, this is me. I am always a man of peace, and I will always approach issues very, very peacefully. So I am expecting you. You are not somebody who is from the garage who will be shouting and insulting people or anything like that. This thing you wrote on the 15th of March with very derogatory language against Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB leadership, retract it. And your name will continue to be Tony Nnadi. Nothing will be removed from your name. Rather, you will earn respect of men and women. And those of you who think that Biafrans are not one, you are lying. If you want to know how united Biafrans are, start today. Begin to reject the enslavement of Nigeria in your life and embrace Biafra. Automatically, everything about you will change. And you'll begin to see the love of Biafrans being showered on you. Thank you for watching me. I will continue this part of this topic and to also call on all the followers of other groups to understand that this is not struggle between group and group. It is, we have only one enemy. The enemy is Fulani Caliphate and terrorist. Your Mossab is not your enemy. IPOB is not your enemy. BCM is not your enemy. NLC is not your enemy. And Simon Ekpa can never be your enemy. Share this video and remain blessed.